Welcome to episode number 198 of Broad Street Hustle. I'm your host tonight, Jason Sayeda, and we're going to do a couple quick topics. We're going to talk a little bit about the WBC. We will also, we're a week away from Phillies opening day, so we'll give some thoughts on some performances in the Grapefruit League and, our thoughts maybe on the final roster. And then we're going to finish up with handicapping the all stakes pick five on Saturday's fairgrounds card, leading up to the Louisiana Derby, as we're now really starting get into the major preparations for the Kentucky Derby, which is less than 2 months away. So it's a short crew tonight. Tommy could not make it, but Jimmy the Chalk could. So what's up, Jim?
Yeah, I was hoping we can make this a March Madness podcast, but I lost out still, even though there's only two of us.
Yeah, I mean, you would be doing a soliloquy if it was March Madness.
I mean, did anybody check on Meeker to see if he survived that Duke game earlier?
Well, see, the thing about Meeker is we don't really kind of like honor him as a Duke fan. Like that's kind of fugazi. So he's not really a Duke fan. He's not a true Duke fan. Like he went to a college that had a basketball program. He went to Penn State. I mean, they have a basketball team. Like, how are you a Duke fan? So he's not a legitimate Duke fan. So
Okay.
we still would have broke his balls if they were lost.
If the number one overall seed went knocked out in the first round, sure.
But yeah, then we would have taken the opportunity to break his balls. But otherwise, he's not really a Duke fan. So it's All right, so this episode is brought to you by Giovanina's Pizza. You've tried the rest, now try the best. So, Chalky, let's start with the WBC. I mean, I have to be honest with you. I enjoyed it. I watched almost every game. Well, no, I mean, I watched every U.S. game. I watched the good teams. I watched Dominican Republic. I watched a couple of the Italy games. I mean, they were really good. I enjoyed it. I just thought, I mean, you had your instances where were they truly the best U.S. players on, where was Garrett Crochet? Like, where were the Seattle Mariners pitchers? Skubal decided not to pitch the last game. Like, stuff like that is annoying. But, I mean, all in all, it was good baseball. U.S. disappointed. I mean, I thought their lineup was pathetic, to be honest with you. But I enjoyed it. What were your thoughts, Chalk?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. The games were most of the games were pretty close. I think for me, part of the issue is, and you alluded to it, like when you look at how the Olympics are played, and it's like, you can argue about should this guy have made it, should this guy have not, but like they're picking the best players. The league is shut down, the best players go, and they're playing unless they're hurt. Nobody's opting out of, and look, the dynamic of a major league pitcher and an innings count and everything, that is a factor that hockey doesn't have, or any of these other sports that play international competition. But when you're, for me, again, the U.S. didn't lose because of the pitching, really. I mean, they didn't give up a lot of runs. You can say DeRosa is a clown because he got lucky to get into the playoff round because he doesn't understand that they had they weren't in before the Italy game. But when teams are calling and saying like, don't use my guy here or only use him this much, and so like DeRosa said at the game that Mason Miller was he promised the Padres that Mason Miller would only be used in a save situation. Well, you get to the ninth inning tied. There is no save situation. So maybe that wasn't explicitly said, but that should be like, okay, well, it should have been the ninth inning. If tied or ahead, he's going to pitch. Now, the way the Red Sox closer, right, I guess he had a couple of wild pitches in that last run. Suarez gets the double and that the U.S. loses. But I think not having your best stars and you're trying to. I mean, look, no disrespect to McClain because he pitched fine in the championship game, but he should not be pitching the championship game in a true top level
Yeah.
international competition. And I think sure, did every country have their best players? No, but I think it seems like the certainly the Italy's, but the Venezuelans and Dominican, like these players seem to want it a little more in some ways than maybe the American players, and they're putting their best out there. I mean, but even with Venezuela, they were trying to bargain to get, I think, Luzardo to pitch the championship game or the game before, and they couldn't. The Phillies wouldn't give the approval. So
Yeah.
when you don't know who's going to, I mean, you have an idea of a rotation, but like I mean, I guess it was just to dress up. Clayton Kershaw dressed for U.S. Like come on, like you're not gonna use him. So
Yeah.
like the rotation of guys in and out during the tournament, you don't see that in any other thing. And being a starting pitcher or relief pitcher is a unique situation compared to other sports, but that makes it a little like you're not getting necessarily the best every game. But the games came down and stuff late. I think we saw in the Dominican game the need for the automated balls and strikes replay or whatever.
Yeah.
But hey, it's been more interesting. The last couple tournaments have been pretty good. I mean, obviously here the U.S. wasn't going very far in the first couple. The fact that they won and then have been in the championship game the last 2 times, and they've been somewhat competitive games. You had Ohtani versus Trout to end the game a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, the ratings are better than the NBA Finals, so there's an interest for it out there. The question they're talking about now is, you got the Olympics coming up, and then does this kind of thing move to the middle of the year, and you take like an extended break like the NHL does for the Olympics? Would that make it more competitive? Or I don't know that that's going to make a manager want to use his closer or his starter any more than it does in the off season. But
So
when you
when
got guys that are limited innings, that's always going to be an issue with your pitchers, I assume.
So with the Olympics, is that like going to happen mid-season, like July, August? Like
I
in
believe they were talking about using the MLB players in the 2028 Olympics. Yeah. The schedule for that, it is set to begin
So you would think like that.
July 14th to 30th. So you'd probably look to forego. I don't know if they're going to forego the All-Star game that year if they haven't given
and
it
then
out
just
already.
shut
And
down
then
a week for a couple weeks.
do a 2-week. So the 16 days for the Olympics, so you would shut down essentially for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Because I had heard a couple different things. I heard Jason Stark was saying that they should make the WBC like a whole week during the or actually like play the prelims in March, but then the quarterfinals, semifinals, finals the week of the All-Star game. So make it like a whole week of. But then I heard like Max Scherzer was like, no, that won't work because guys are going to want to rest up that week. They're not
Right.
going to want. And then Max Scherzer was like, let's move it to the end of the spring training when all the guys are pretty much they have their ground their feet underneath them as far as like getting ready for the season and stuff. But then I heard somebody saying, well, the whole reason they do it when they do is because there's nothing going on in sports. So they get all the ratings. Now, if they moved it to the end of spring training, you got March Madness and you got all that stuff, which is going to, take away from viewership. So there's really no perfect way to do it. I mean, it's once every 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there is a special, like, I think no matter when you put it during the year, your issue of, okay, because I think that the starters have an innings limit no matter what. Because guys don't pitch past the 5th, 6th inning, so I don't know if there's in the game there's a limit.
It's a pitch limit.
So, like when okay, you don't know if I'm no matter when it is, I don't want my guy going 9 innings or so. Especially in this day and age where you don't have your workhorse. I mean, you think about when this thing started in like 2006 or whatever. You had guys like Halladay, Clemens was still pitching. These are guys that will go, throw 10 complete games a year or 5 or 10 complete games. You don't get that now. And so I think the idea of keeping somebody's arm safe is going to be an issue no matter when you play it. So for the rest of the team, I guess that's up in the air. But then do you want your team go through spring training and then most of your guys sitting for 2 weeks while you do this and then picking back up again other than just playing around? I don't know.
Yeah.
So they're probably, because of the dynamics that make baseball different, it's probably not there's not going to be an ideal time for this kind of thing. But
So leave it where it is,
I
and
would, yeah. I mean,
maybe
you know,
more guys would want to play now. You know what I'm saying? Like because it got so many eyes on it, and it was good baseball. Maybe you'll have more guys that say, "All right,
I
I'll
think,
go."
yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, I think, they're going to go, they're going to do another Hockey World Cup, I think, next year, or the year after, and that's going to be a bit, bigger tournament. And they're going to do that before the season, which in August, September, football is about to start, but you're not, shutting the NHL down for that period to do in a non-Olympic year. It wouldn't be the best. Like they did the Four Nations thing, which was smaller and good, but so
I'll
having
tell
that
you,
kind of thing before the season, I think makes sense, no matter what sport you're talking about.
it's
But
before your time, but the best hockey I ever saw was it was called Rendezvous 80. It was 1987.
the
It was
Canada Cup, yeah,
the Canada Cup, and it was it was Canada versus Russia and US. It was just no, actually it wasn't the Canada Cup. It was called Rendezvous 87, and it was just like pretty much the best NHL players because there was no Russian NHL players back then versus Russia.
right.
And
Oh, okay,
it was just, I mean, just unbelievable hockey.
is that
Best
when
period.
Lemieux had the game-winning goal or
It was
whatever?
Lemieux. So
You
here,
and Gretzky were on the same line, I think, right?
and guess who the winger was? You'll never guess who the winger was.
I'm gonna say
Wild
Tim.
guess.
I'm gonna say Tim Kerr.
Close. Brian Propp.
Okay,
How about that?
yeah. Well, I mean, you got two natural centers playing. You can't have somebody else playing out of position probably in that. So, I mean, Prop was
Propp
he a
was a
50
hell
goal
of a
scorer? I mean,
player.
Kerr I know was 50 goal
No,
scorer while healthy,
Propp
but
never got 50, but and I don't think he ever got 100 points. But Propp was a really, really, really good player. But it was, I mean, you could watch it on YouTube. Those games are just incredible, incredible
yeah,
hockey.
I'm looking at it now. Rendezvous 87 was 2-game international ice hockey series between the Soviet national team and a team of all-stars from the NHL held in Quebec City.
Yeah, just unbelievable. But so I mean that works. Obviously the Olympics were great for hockey this year. So yeah, I mean NBA should think about it. I mean you got so many foreign players that are good in the NBA now.
I mean, didn't
I
they do
think
something like that this year with
with the
it's
All
hard to
Star game,
follow the teams. I thought that they had like I forget what it was they did. Like they didn't do a traditional East West or even a regular draft. I thought they did something with like international teams. I mean, the NHL did that for it was World versus North America and then that kind of. So I mean, these things that don't mean. I mean, the baseball is one All-Star game that plays truest to the actual day-to-day product anymore because NHL's got 3-on-3 and NBA nobody plays defense and football it's flag football now. So I think that's a sport you can do the most with. But these other competitions, yeah, I mean, sports, these leagues, aside from the NHL, are trying to make themselves year-round kind of things. The NFL has major milestones almost every month except for maybe June now in the way their calendar works. So, yeah, the ideas are out there, and certainly there's enough platforms for it to be broadcast or streamed or whatever. So,
yeah
can't have enough content.
yeah. All right, let's obviously I guess we should not end without saying the U.S. did not win. Unfortunately, Venezuela did win the
Yes.
gold, but still was a fun watch. So, all right, let's move on. Do some quick Phillies talk. So, week away from opening day, um, there's some interesting performances so far in the Grapefruit League for the Phillies. I guess we'll get into that first before we jump into any final roster thoughts. But couple of guys who notably have had great springs. Bohm has been really good this spring, so maybe he's probably playing for a contract. He's maybe it's going to be a really good year for Bohm. Stott was very good in the spring. He's had a great spring. Couple of the pitchers, Luzardo's been great. Nola really hasn't done it. I mean, he had a couple of starts for the Phillies, but his performance in the WBC, I mean, if this is going to be the Nola we're going to get during the season, man, I'm all for it. Um, anyone else stick out to you, or any thoughts on those guys I mentioned?
I mean, Stott for sure. You know, we talked about a little bit before. He sort of tweaked his swing a little bit towards the end of the last year, and that's managed to carry through. What's his name? You know, Garcia's hitting 300. He's only got one home run, but
He was
you
4
know,
for 4 the other day, so that
yeah.
kind of maybe he's getting hot now.
And that's like hard. And I was seeing like the people were saying that's hard to do in spring training, like to do that.
And he hit
Um,
every ball like over 100 miles per hour too. So like there were no cheap hits.
yeah. Now, I mean, the one name I'm curious to see what they try to do, because this guy played pretty well in one of the South American leagues is De La Cruz. He's got one home run, but he's hitting 325, and he's played a lot. They've given him a lot of games. They gave him 13 games, which is almost as much as any outfielder. So I don't know if he's going to be in the outfield. I don't know if he's the kind of guy you stash in AAA or if he'll be like the last guy off the bench with a bat.
Well,
But he's shown flashes before, but obviously he's on a minor league deal. So it's not like every team was knocking the door down to get this guy. But
I mean, if it's between him and Garrett Stubbs, because they're talking about Garrett Stubbs
yeah,
being like the
I don't know
jack-all
what the
trade.
hell they're trying to do with him.
No
Like, that doesn't make
thanks.
any sense.
No thanks. I'll take De La Cruz all day. And De La Cruz played for the Marlins too, didn't he, in the past?
He was on the Braves, the
Or the
Marlins.
Braves.
I think he's on
Braves.
both. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, with Rojas being suspended, and then the one guy, Dylan Moore, who he was a jack of all trades. He played for the Mariners last year, and
Yeah.
they thought he was going to make it, but they sent him down, and then he opted out of being sent down. So
Yeah, he
That
didn't
was
play
fun.
particularly well
no,
in his training.
so I mean, I don't know who else would be that extra outfielder if it wasn't De La Cruz.
Yeah, because even though Sosa was going to make the team, but he's hitting 381. You got to, there's guys that I'm just looking here. I don't know who else you're going to, unless somebody else opts out of a contract similar to Moore that you like and you want to try to go get him.
Yeah.
De La Cruz makes as much sense. I don't know. I don't know anything about his defense, so I don't know how much of a liability he is or isn't. But as a guy off the bench to come in every now and then, I believe he's a right-handed bat. So, yeah. I mean, they've done worse, I think, for like last outfield spots. So, you might get a little bit out of him, but certainly not expecting great things for the season, but he could be serviceable. And then the pitching, between the WBC performances and what they've done, like I feel pretty good about the rotation. Painter people are saying his stuff isn't what it was before, that it could be some work, but he's not getting lit up. He's had a couple of good outings. He's got, ERA is 2.3. Not
The only thing I don't
striking out a lot of guys, but
well, what I don't like about what I've seen from Painter is he's not getting a lot of swing and misses.
yeah, there's not a lot of movement on his pitches apparently. So that could be dangerous when you're getting to the regular season. But I'm not going to sit here and say he got me worried. Like if he was getting lit up and stuff, so it's not an overwhelming endorsement that he's going to be great this year, but I'm not worrying just yet. And Luzardo was striking everybody out.
My thoughts on him. I think, if you didn't bet him for Cy Young yet, at 30-1.
And we haven't talked about it since the day, but they went and re-upped him. So the team obviously has a ton of faith in him. So Suarez is going to be your ace, but not Suarez. Sorry, Sanchez will be your ace. Ranger he pitched well in the WBC too for Venezuela, but he is on Boston now. But Sanchez is going to be your ace. I mean, you might if Luzardo, Wheeler might need to be your 3, which is not a bad position to be in when he comes back. And then Nola's your 4, and you go from there.
You want to split up your
and you can split them up, come postseason or whatever, however you want to do it, not to have the same guy left. But I mean,
Nola pitching the way he is as your 4. I don't care who your 5th starter is at that point. Like you got unbelievable 4-man rotation. And
Yeah.
listen, Painter's still going to be good. Like hopefully it's just taking him time to get that movement back, and the arm slot and things like that. Um, he's still young. He's only 22. So
Yeah, I mean, it feels like we've been talking about him for 4 years. We kind of have, but I mean, he's only that
yeah,
we were talking about him since he's been 18 or whatever.
yeah, and hopefully he'll get that dominance back. And jeez, I mean, you have those 5 guys in your rotation. They're going to be tough. I still
Yeah.
think I just think that the expectations they're very underrated when you hear nationally. I mean, you can't listen to the idiot fans, but nationally, a lot of the touts are like, oh, they're going to finish third behind the Mets and the Braves, and I don't.
I mean, I don't think that. Yeah, Braves have bats, but you got guys that also get hurt a lot on that team, and that pitching
Pitching
staff
staff is
is not
no,
giving me any cause to be worried about them seriously challenging for first place in the division. So no, been wrong before, but I don't see them being
no,
able to carry through. I mean, honestly, and if that pit, maybe you could win the division because not great teams win the division, but they're not built for the playoffs if that pitching staff doesn't come around.
no. I mean, they have Sale, and listen, Strider is not the Strider that he was. I mean,
Nope.
I'm sorry, he just is not. So they have some issues. So yeah, and the Mets. I mean, I'm not convinced on the Mets. I mean, McLean's your number two,
Yeah.
good pitcher, but
I mean, he's still young. I mean, you see these kids, they could be
yeah,
end up Hall of Famers and, come in their first year and some of them, they'll throw in clunkers from their second or third seasons.
I
I
mean,
mean, he's what? Is he even 23? I think, is he younger than that?
I think he's the same age as Painter. I think he's
Okay, so he's
22, right?
22. I mean, he pitched well last year. He pitched well enough to get on the baseball team, the U.S. team. I mean, if he has an okay year or even like a 500 year, he goes 10-10. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but that's huge. That's a huge problem for the Mets when you're trying to win a division with the Phillies in it,
Yeah,
or be a contender.
right. So, well, I mean, I'm looking forward to the Phillies being back and baseball being back. So we will, although the next couple of weeks will be dominated by Kentucky Derby talk, I'm sure if we do the podcast next Thursday, it should be right after the end of the opening day game. So I'm sure we'll have some commentary on what happened in the game.
Assuming it doesn't get rained out or canceled like in the past.
It's possible. I'm sure it'll be 30 degrees out. But other than that, I don't know if you have any other baseball thoughts, or you just wanted to jump into the Louisiana Derby.
I mean, yeah, we'll probably be talking about some horses here that are taking the same medicine that some of the Phillies players have, but that's about the
I'm
only connection I can make.
It's possible. Well, Chalky, I'll throw it to you. You like running the show with the horse talk, so
All
have
right,
at it.
so we'll go. So this is we're giving you a handicap. This is definitely a bet. We were originally looking at a pick four that ended with the Louisiana Derby, but that's not clear whether that will actually be a bet. So if it happens to be a bet, give much more weight to our picks from races 9 through 12 and play that. But we had to add a race to guarantee that we were actually handicapping a sequence. So this will be the Fairgrounds All Stakes Pick 5, $1 million guaranteed payout, 50-cent base bet. It will start with race 8, which is 4:32 Eastern time. It is the Costa Rising State Bred race, 5.5 on the turf for Louisiana bred. So it's closed company, not a graded race. 5.5 on the Fairgrounds turf. I don't have an idea, but we'll see if you do, Jason.
Well, like Chalky said, I would take our race 8 thoughts with a grain of salt, and just wait until race day. If it's a pick 4, I would definitely be more confident in using our race 9 through 12 horses. But I mean, race 8, I did handicap it a little bit. I'm not great on turf sprints, and especially at the fairgrounds. I'm going to go with the one 9 part. I don't know if I wrote the name down right, but it's for Phelps and Jose Ortiz. And to me, it looks like the class of the field. So, you know, take a shot there. I'm actually using all three inside horses. I'm going to use the 2 Strong Promise for Landry and Melanson. And also, Hey Jude, the 3 for Amos and Castillo. Maybe the controlling speed, and maybe since Tom Amos will not be around much longer, maybe they decide to throw him a race. It's a going away party. Present.
All right, so I'm just gonna go light here and single the 1, mainly because he is the class of the race that is actually won on turf or run on turf in the case. So the 2 and the 3 have numbers that would translate well on turf, and the 2 has run back on turf before, but the 2 and the 3, most of the races have been on dirt. So if I was going to add one more, I do like, the Amos retiring angle, throw in 1. I would go with the 2 over the 3, as the 2 has won on turf before, and there's a good dirt turf numbers, 22% for Alan Landry, the trainer, and then 27% on turf sprints. So if I had to add one more, if you feel like getting frisky and doubling the size of the bet, I would go 1, 2. But for purposes of this, I'm just going to say single the 1 9 part with Jose Ortiz and see if that'll get us through the first leg. All right, so our first graded stakes is up next. It's the New Orleans Classic, grade 2 for a mile and an 1/8 on the dirt. So I looked at this one. It's a short field, and my top pick is actually going to be the second longest shot on the board, because if you look at this, 5 of the 6 horses like to run on the lead.
Yep.
So I am going to make my top pick the 6, Corporate Power. Luis Saez up for Asmussen. Now, this horse has run in some graded company before and run very short, has won some state stakes, won a restricted race, ungraded down in Pimlico. That was the Sir Barton for 3-year-olds, ran second in the Curlin up in Saratoga a couple years ago. I mean, his numbers, and we don't have the sheet numbers for most of these races, except for the 2 marquees. I don't know how the sheets compare. His buyers are not in the same category as a few of these horses here. But some of these horses, not everybody can run on the lead, and if they all try to, it's going to collapse. So I'm just going to take a shot here and put the 6 on top, because the 6 is the one that is going to be coming from behind. And it's a jockey upgrade to Saez. So we'll see if that can get done. I will use one other horse. So of the lead horses, I'm going to go with the 3, Accelerize.
Hold on a second. I read on Twitter that he is probably going to scratch and run in Oaklawn.
Well, I saw that he was entered in Oaklawn and was not sure that he was going to run. So, okay, he is out. So, at that point, I would say if I'm going to add another horse in, I would do the 4, Life and Times, Pratt for Pletcher. Ran up the track his last time out in his first stakes opportunity. So this will be, I believe, his first 2-turn race, because the Aqueduct races are 1 turn. So he's 3 times in a mile at Gulfstream and Aqueduct. I believe they all would have been 1 turn. So there's a little bit of concern there if he'll be able to stretch out. But I just don't. The favorite monster buyers, but I'm not interested in that in a possible contested race, and trying to get a price here because there might be some chalk later on. So you could single the 6 if you want to get really bold, but with the 3 possibly scratching, the 3 doesn't scratch, that'd be my second choice. If the 3 does scratch, I would go with the 4, Life and Times. Jason?
Yeah, so we handicapped this race pretty similarly. Easy for me to say. Like you said, crazy amount of speed. Looks like the 2, Touch Upon a Star, needs the lead. I will use him. He's the favorite. I will use him, but my main pick is like you. It's going to be my top pick is going to be 6 corporate power for Asrish and Saez. I mean, basically, not to repeat what you said, but he's the only horse who's proven that he could win off the lead, and it looks like however many other horses are going to be, whether it be 4 or 5 other horses in the race, they're all going to be either on the lead or close to the lead. So 6 is my top choice, but I will back it up with the 2 because he probably is the class of the field. It just might be, the speed and better than everybody else. So I'll do 6-2.
All right. That takes us to race 10, which is the Muniz Memorial Classic. It is a grade 2 on the turf for 1.125 miles. Post time is 5:36 East. Some horses that we handicapped last time we did Fairgrounds coming out of the prep, which was the Fairgrounds grade 3. So we'll see if we like any of them this time. Jason.
Yeah, so I'm going to be 3 deep in this race. My top pick is going to be the 7 program training for Brown and Pratt. Clear class advantage. If again, like I mentioned before, when I look at turf races, I like to see who the class of the field is. I mean, a lot of times that's just they just win these turf races. So he'll be my top pick. I'm also going to use the 2 Monador, who I liked, like you mentioned, Chalky. We did basically cap almost the same exact race last time. I liked him last time. He had a little traffic trouble. He wound up finishing second. So I'll give him another shot. And then my third pick, who I also used last time, was I'd Rather Be Blessed, the 3, for possible gate to wire. I'm trying to beat Laganos, who I did use last time, but I'm going to try to beat him this time. So I'll be 7, 2, and 3 in that order.
All right, yeah. So if I haven't gotten knocked out trying to beat the favorite to this point, this might be the race. So I'm going to go against program trading. He is the class of the race. He, won the Grade 1 Turf Classic 2 seasons back. Had some good races last year at shorter distances, but couldn't quite break through. And then comes out this time and beaten favorite, flattened out, but could have easily needed a race. The Fairgrounds turf is very comparable to Churchill, so it's quirky, but he has won at Churchill. But I'm just going to go with the 2 local horses, if you want to call them that, and that's Matador, the 2. That would be my top choice, and the 4 Laganos. I did look at the 3 as a pace play, but came up empty in the last 2 races and came up empty bad last time. I didn't think even if they got a really easy lead might be enough at this point. So I'm only going 2 deep there, 2-4 in that race. All right, so this gets us to the 2 main races. First up is the Fairground Oaks. It's grade 2 for the 3-year-old Phillies, 1.116 on the dirt. This will be the Fairgrounds prep for the Kentucky Oaks, where a couple winners have come out of this race over the last few years. I'll start. So again, there's a race where we handicapped a couple of horses already, and to me, I'm not going to get clever. It's going to be the 2 finishers of the prep, the Rachel Alexandra. So curiously, I wasn't going to make the 4 my top pick, but when I saw the sheets and I saw the sheets have the 4 running a better number than the 5, I am going to put the 4 on top to see if she can keep improving. So that'll be Love Your Neighbor, Saez with Stidden. Again, hung in the stretch last time. This has gone the same distance. Gives me a little bit of concern, but still came back with a nicer number on the sheets. So I'm going to give an edge there. And then the 5, Bella Ballerina, Gaffleon, Brendan Walsh, who won the prep, is 3-0. Did not do anything wrong and had to fight back to get, actually fought back after being on the lead to win the last race. Obviously worthy favorite. And a couple other horses obviously have room to improve, but I wasn't going crazy here. So 4-5 in the 11th for me. Jason.
So I'm 3 deep also in this race. My top pick is going to be the 5 Bella Ballerina with Walsh, for Walsh and Gaffleon. She's versatile. She paired fives. I like that. I think she's going to make a move off of that in this race. Um, my second pick is also the horse you used, the 4 Love Your Neighbor for Stidham. Um, she seems to have second-itis, which is kind of scary. If you look, I think the last 4 races she finished second, but um, she does have improving thoragraphs, and I took a shot on her in the last Derby Future. I did an Oaks Derby double. I just did her with Paladin, and it pays for a buck. It pays like 1,100 or maybe 1,300 bucks. I forget. So take a shot. I mean, if she gets enough points out of this race and gets into the Oaks, I'm live for some nice money. But I'll also use the 6 Life of Joy for Cox. She's got some nice sheets. She can improve and have something to say in this race. So 5, 4, 6.
Yeah, I mean I was not even sure I would use the 4 until I saw the sheet. So that's the
She's
improvement
legit.
there. But there are like the 6 is one of a few horses here that has every right to improve, and it could be enough to win this race because nobody's running monster numbers on the sheet.
Yeah.
So yeah, 6 makes sense as well if you're going to play that. All right, that takes us to the main event, the featured race, which is race 12, which is not the last race. There's also a 13 and race 14, 2 wonderful maiden special weights to be played later, pick 4, pick 5. But the main event is the Grade 2 Louisiana Derby, a mile and 3/16. So it's the longest North American prep, dirt prep for the Derby for 3-year-old colts. We'll start with you.
Well, I'm singling in this race. The 3 Chip Honcho for Asmussen and Saez. Really good sheets. He paired 8s, then he paired 7s, then he made a move to 4. I think he's got room to make another move up here. Either that or maybe he pairs the 4 and then, really kind of, has room to improve into the Derby. One way or the other, I think he's a good horse. He ran a really good race last race. Just got nipped at the wire by Paladin. I think he goes gate the wire in this race. I don't think anybody else kind of keep up with him. And if he's that good of a horse, if I consider Paladin probably the best 3-year-old, and he was right there with him. So I like his sheet. I'm all in on 3 Chip Honcho.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 Chip Honcho will be my top pick as well. He's a horse I liked in that last race, and I thought he had the race won. Paladin just kept coming and got by. And looking at it, I'm like, just like the 4 in the last race, I was like, did he kind of have everything go his way and he still couldn't win? And is that a concern? But he lost to Paladin, who in some people's minds is the top or top 3 of the Derby horses. So there's not necessarily any shame in that. And based on the PPs of the other horses in this race, there is no Paladin in this race. So that effort, again, could very well be good enough. I'm not going to single. So there are 2 horses coming out of maiden special weights that I'm going to throw in as possible longer bombs based on improvements or patterns I saw on the sheets. And that's the 7 Blacksmith. Giroux's riding for Baffert, who's shipping in here from the West Coast. Went 6.96 on the sheets. If he goes from a 6 to a 3, Honcho could go to a 2, but the 3 might be good enough to win this race. And then the 8 Easterly, Eggersai is up for Cox, who broke maiden going 2 turns, first time 2 turns, his second race overall at a mile and 16th last month at Gulfstream. Now, the biggest buyer number is the 9 Emerging Market, which also broke maiden last month, but in Tampa. I wasn't going there, and the sheet number is second best. I think I just wasn't going there for one. Maybe the horse is a monster, but I had no interest in that.
My thoughts on that horse were, even if he runs a nice race, are they going to throw him in the Derby off of like 3 races?
I mean, it could. I mean, say Klarovich as an owner will drop horses into $70,000 claims that he bought for $1 million at Saratoga to win the title, and I mean, so getting a horse in the Derby might be, it seems to me like this is a bold second race choice. If you have no interest in running the Derby, why run them in the Louisiana Derby? Find another
Yeah.
spot that's a little softer. So I think they have confidence in the horse.
And maybe my comment is more of like, I don't want any parts of him if he gets into the Derby.
Yeah, I think running any horse, and it is hard enough for horses to win the Derby with only having 3 races. You got a horse coming in on its 3rd race trying to win the Derby. You better be an all-time great.
You better be Justify, right? I mean,
Justify had 3 races under his belt before the
3?
Triple Crown. I don't know that anybody has. I don't know that anyone has ever won the Derby in their 3rd race. It would be back in probably like the 1800s or something, like if that ever did happen. Because Apollo won it not racing as a 3-year-old with 3 races, and that was over 100 years. So anyway, all right. So that is the sequence. So Jason, I'll kick it to you to give out your ticket.
All right. So race 8, 1, 2, 3, and again, like if you have extra money to spare and want to throw in more horses, please do in that race. I am not confident at all. So I am confident in the other 4 races though. Race 9, 2, 6. I think that gets you out of that race. Race 10, 2, 3, 7. Try to beat the favorite, Logano, or not the favorite, but the winner of the prep, I guess, for this race, Logano's. Race 11, 4, 5, 6 should get you through, and then race 12. I like Chip Honcho, the 3. I bet him last week in the Derby Futures. I did exactas with him under Paladin, and yeah, I like that horse.
All right. So for me, in the first leg, race 8, I'm single in the 1. If he doesn't win, we'll save money by not spreading there, and then you can pick up some of the later races, sequences if you want to do another multi. In the 9th, if the 3 runs, I would use the 3. If the 3 is not run, use the 4 instead. So either 3-6 or 4-6, depending on if the 3 runs. In the 10th race, 2-4. In the 11th, 4-5. And in the 12th race, 3-7-6. So that is 24 for $1 or 12 for 50 cents.
And my ticket is for 50 cents, $27.
All right. Well, that will wrap it up for this week. Next week, there's a couple preps. We will definitely be doing the Florida Derby, I think. We'll see if we add anything else in there, but the Florida Derby plus maybe some of the other races in that sequence down in Gulfstream, but expect that coming up next week. And also the baseball season will have started next week. So
and we'll probably have the horse racing legend of
the legend Jimmy D has been prepping. He's had a couple quick breezes, running some bullets to prep for the return. So that's always exciting, and nobody brings in the ratings like Jimmy D. So always great to have him around. But that'll be it for this week. So that's episode 198 of Broad Street Hustle. Have a good weekend.